Okay, me too. And hello everyone, hello Instagram, hello YouTube, hello world. My name is Sasha Reese, and this is another amazing Thursday. An amazing way to spend this night. Getting on top of everything you wanting to know about dogs, but you just didn't have whom to ask. Today we're going to talk about, I'm going to start actually, and then you can, interact and come and go as you wish. But I would love to start, drawing attention to the Pure Love and Harmony Wellness formula that has very big importance in the current situation that we are dealing with the dog, with this unknown, mysterious respiratory, like an upper respiratory disease that's actually flooding the country and the world slowly, because it's a respiratory disease, so it spread very easily, and every doggy parent is already encouraged to kind of like try to find a way not to interact with another dogs. So we have a lack in a secure place if your dog is adjusted or learned to go to a daycare, or if you are using dog grooming services. Now you are stuck again, like with yourself, with do-it-yourself, that we experienced that COVID madness time when we were in a lockdowns and couldn't go to the groomers, and then you tried to do your best and you didn't know how, and everything of that was just kind of leaving a big impact. But more than anything, the impact was on the mental health of the dogs, because that's why we have doggy daycares, because the dogs doesn't want to stay home alone, because the doggy parents are very scared to leave their dogs 8 hours at home, because we do not have a proper attachment to our dogs, and dogs don't have a proper attachment to humans, where this anxiety is actually created from. So that's very important. Now we are facing another challenge. Like, if you are used to a doggy daycare and you cannot go there because of this mysterious disease, now you either need to hire the babysitter, or you need to learn how to leave your dog home, and your dog is super anxious. He doesn't want to stay at home. It's because we don't have a secure attachment developed with our dog, and there is a challenge to do that. So it kind of like very easy. You need to overcome the challenge, because how do we put our dogs, how do we kill our dogs while they are alive? It's humanizing them, projecting the human traits on them, thinking that the perception of the world is the same as is ours, thinking that they have the same perception of the world, that they see the world with our eyes. That's the death sentence to a dog. And that leads us to all of these brands and all of these businesses that operates on a lack of human awareness and real knowledge about the dog's needs. So, and now again, we would be forced to do it right, because you cannot delegate to someone to care about your dog. You need to do it yourself. You need to delegate someone to care for your dog. You need to do it yourself. You cannot delegate the communication skills to someone else to communicate with your dog. You don't need to take your dog to a daycare. You don't need to take your dog to a hotel. You don't need to buy the food for your dog. All of those things that you don't need are much even better to do it yourself. You don't need, actually, you really don't need to have either groomer for your dog. You need to have a place where to do it, and a couple of skills to make it right. And then you don't depend on anyone. And that is what I was trying to share with the world, like for the last 4 years, telling to the people that we need to find a new way to care for our dog, because not everything can be delegated to the others. And now when we face these kind of challenges, when we cannot take the dogs to a daycare, we cannot take the dogs to a hotel, or we cannot take the dogs to a groomer, what you will do? Work from home? Feel guilty for that? How you gonna stop traveling because the hotels for dogs gonna be closed either willingly or by force? So how you gonna do, what you gonna do that? What you gonna do now? That's the whole problem of the human-dog interaction that I'm warning people, for all. I'm talking, not warning. I'm talking about this for almost 5 years now. That's why recently the business that we helped develop until a certain point, the beginning of my project, of my consulting, and when I was just trying to help build a vision of the brand, was the most important thing is that you need to have the suite for every single dog. So kind of every single dog has his own little boutique. And then because the dog don't interact with the other dogs and the groomers are not in this madness of the noise of barking and everything, they're focused on one dog at a time by creating these wonderful, beautiful doggy grooming suites in which the dog can have a piece and the groomer can have a piece. But came up to be that's not a solution as well, because all the air type, how you say that, this type of the respiratory diseases are spread through the air. So they're aerosol infections. There is an uncertain cause of this infection. So as you can read the studies and the reports, and as you can see all the concerns about the veterinarians, institutes, labs, and things like that, that they're all like a sequencing, trying to find the root cause of this disease because they're not responding well on the known therapies for the upper respiratory diseases. But one thing is certain. It's a respiratory disease, so it spread through the air. So even by being in the place with that's closed environment and in the next to another dog, and that was touched or in the same proximity with your dog, can actually transfer the disease. And now the question becomes like, are we again in a place where all the doggy parents need to have a skills to care for their dogs? And that's what actually I created. I created this beautiful concept called Pure Love and Harmony that provides everything you need to care for your dog, provides you basic understanding and basic concept of the canine human communication, nutrition, and coat care, coat and skin care, that when combined together lower the stress on dog and owner, raising awareness of raising an amazing time that we spend together because of the interaction, and everything that we gain through that interaction. And that's responsibility. That's responsible ownership. When you know what is to be done, and not just because you have money you're gonna pay to someone else to do it. Pay to someone else to train your dog, and then someone trains your dog, and then you get your dog back home and you keep communicating with your dog for a couple of days, and for a couple of weeks, let's say everything is perfect, and then when everything sets back to an old pattern, the obedient training doesn't work anymore because you paid someone to do your job. And then you think that if you buy some kibbles or subscribe to some food that's gonna just be delivered like that to your doorstep, that you did the job. No, you didn't. You delegated your health to someone else, the health of your dog, but also not health of your dog, emotional health of yours as well. If you know that you need to kind of, I just can't deal with all of this mess, with all of this hair, I don't have a place, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm just gonna delegate that to someone else, and then let's just take a dog to a groomer. I'm gonna see like how you gonna do that now. You can't, and it's not an excuse for you not to know how to basically care for your coat of your dog. And that's where all the unity of the knowledge comes. in order I know, I do understand, like, if all of these shows get cancelled and all of these, gatherings with the dogs get cancelled and all of these precautions are in place, like, aren't the responsible pet care businesses are kind of closed now? Or they are thinking that we just, by improving the sanitation, we can keep our businesses open? Because you have, with these kind of diseases, you always have an incubation period. The contagious animal doesn't need to express the symptoms. So if the dog doesn't express symptoms, that doesn't mean that the dog is not infectious. And are you taking your dog to another place just because you are going to work? And now is the time when we actually can make a timing for that. Are we seeing another urge of people getting rid of their dogs because the dogs won't be allowed in the like doggy daycares or dog hotels, and the people need to work and then they cannot work from home and they don't know how to leave the dog at home, and now where the dog's gonna end? In a shelter? Will the shelter want to accept the dogs if this kind of crisis is in place, when the infectious disease is going all over the place? Now maybe the killing shelters will be able to take your dog by just putting them down because it's infectious disease. That's what you do for the global health. So, but not to be drama at the moment, even though it's a time for drama, even if it's not an urgent drama, because there is why everyone is calling it mysterious disease is because there is unknown cause, and the dogs are not reacting on known therapy, and that's the very big problem, because and the reason why they don't know, like, what's causing the disease. Is it some microbe, or it's which kind of it and where it comes from, or it's some virus or bacteria? And then if it's a bacteria, then kind of like that settles the score down, for us and for the treatment, because then you're gonna be fine. Then you're gonna be knowing which antibiotics gonna kind of kill that bacteria. But if it's a virus, then there is no need for giving an antibiotics just in order to cure the virus. But you can, with antibiotic, you might prevent some other infections that can add on already, infections of the lungs. And all of this while I was, practicing my veterinarian practice back in the days, the only old school way of dealing with this kind of unknown diseases would be boost an immune system. And immune system boosters are first starting with eliminating the stress within the dog's environment. And the number one cause of stress among the dogs is a human interaction with the dogs. And we are now just in time of our study how our behavior impacts dogs' physiology by doing this all comprehensive study, like with the dogs from almost all over the world that signed up for this. And we are now in a time of collecting samples and starting the journey with the dogs that need to go through the journey. So the study gonna be showing us a lot of informations and a lot of needs we need to understand. But eliminating stress, there is no magic pill. There is only one thing you need to go, is learn the language of your dog. Start communicating with them from their shoes. Start seeing the world with their eyes and answer the needs they need to have answered. Once they got all of those questions answered, they're gonna relax. And in that relaxedness, they're gonna develop a secure attachment towards humans. The secure attachment leads to hormonal answer, reaction, or response that actually calms down the adrenaline, cortisol, calms down the fear response in which dogs always are reactive in order to know which of three way of dealing with the fear to pull from, like either going to be like a flee away, that they usually don't do because they don't have where to fly away from the fear, because we are the source of their existence. So they usually, even if they're going to be afraid of, they won't fly away. Freeze, that's one of the possibilities, and often happen in the dogs that obey. Dogs that obey, and I'm just about to prove that foundings in my study that I have, the dogs that are obeying to the rules established by the fear are the dogs that are in constant stress and reacting to that stress by freezing mode, by freezed in time, by obeying to the response, obeying to the obedient training with use of force, of no matter count. You can just say, oh, it just slightly, no, it's slightly, because the dog is afraid that if it's gonna be more than slightly, it's gonna hurt. So it's not willingly choice, it's forced choice. Forced choice is actually pushing obedience behavior on the dog. The other would be to become aggressive towards animals, towards humans. And that is where the dogs, when the dogs are coping with the stress, and the stress is coming out from the human-dog interaction, that stress lowers the immune system of the dog. And then immune system is not capable of fighting no disease. You have oftentimes the dog, you have the dogs that are vaccinated against some diseases that have very low immunity, and that gonna have that vaccination breakthrough and then get a disease that they actually get vaccinated against. I had a lot of, I got a lot of questions. So if you were asking me about my thoughts about the vaccines and what my thoughts are about the over-vaccination of the dogs. And I was talking very, long stories about that, but the overall, because the dog, you can do whatever you want, but don't just think that if your dog is vaccinated, that's just enough for them not to get disease. Because, the studies, there are a lot of studies recently came out, and if you're like really eager to look for them, you can search them. You need to be just a little more persistent because the Google won't show them just straight ahead. You need to search for those studies that showing like what are the benefits, you can call it that way as well, or outcomes of the over vaccinating of the dogs, and then how the immune system actually stop responding to a new pathogens. The immune system just expects to be supplied by this little of injection that we get from outside, and then just doesn't respond well at the time when the immune system actually is needed. So that's where you get, that's how you prevent yourself. That's how we actually get ourselves ready for these unknown diseases that can come left and right. And because the way we treat planet, the way how we treat environment, existence of these kind of diseases are much, how can I say, much expected to happen. And then you cannot just, wait for this kind of disease happen, and now we don't know where it comes from, what brings with. There is no vaccine for it, and now we need to wait like 1 year for a vaccine to be developed on a high pace if we find what all of this is actually about. And then what's going to happen with the dogs that are actually get that disease before the vaccine comes out? Is that just something that they need to die just because there is no vaccine? That's where we need to act upfront to this one and to every single one of them that's gonna come in time to come. By raising awareness about that vaccines are okay, but they are not enough. Maybe we don't have some. What we need to work on, immune system. An immune system, if cared for properly, can fight anything. And how do we care for the immune system? You need to start with first thing, and that do it Your job first. Communicate with your dog properly through the rituals and lower the stress. Claim your leadership and responsible ownership, responsible parenthood, responsibility that you have over your dogs. We are responsible for their well-being. Not the groomers, not obedient trainers, not veterinarians, not we. Me as a doggy parent, I need to provide for my doggy child the truth of their existence. And if I do lack a perception of who my dog is, and if I start projecting traits, oh, it's my baby, oh, it is my baby, but it's not my human baby, it's my doggy baby, and my doggy baby doesn't speak English, doesn't speak Serbian and French. My doggy baby might be able to understand it, but it doesn't talk that language. My baby has their own unique language. So now, as a responsible doggy parent, I need to learn my furry baby language. And that baby language is structured in its dog origin. And the dog origin is clear. It's in a group mentality. It's in a family mentality. There is a structure in every family. There is an order in every family. There is expectations of every single piece of the family. Who does what and when and why. And if that order is not fulfilled, the dog doesn't feel protected. If the dogs doesn't feel protected, they're gonna start protecting. And they're gonna start protecting uncertain world for them because they cannot comprehend the world around us and around them. And that's gonna cause an anxiety. The anxiety causes having an insecure attachment towards owners because they cannot predict our behavior. They don't know will we come back when we go out, and then how they develop all kind of anxiety issues and problems by barking, peeing, pooing, pulling, doing all kind of things that we punish them, don't punish them, choose to take them to a daycare because they cannot stay home alone. And how are you going to do that now when the daycare is going to be forced to shut because of this respiratory disease? How are you going to take your dog to a grooming shop because they need to take maybe other precautions, and maybe if you are a responsible dog owner, you might need to know something that you get a chance to learn. But we were thinking about, oh, this COVID was gone and it will never come back. It came back more faster than we're thinking it's coming back. Not necessarily we will find a way ourselves in a situation that we were like a couple of years ago, but it's already coming. Like all kind of recommendation. Don't take your dog to a doggy park. Don't take your dog to a groomer. Don't take your dog to a daycare. What you gonna do with the dog? You don't know nothing about that. You cannot leave the dog at home because it barks and does have all of these things. And there was the thing I was talking about for 5 years already. Combine all of these as the skills that you need as a responsible pet parent. And so there is no time to waste anymore. There is on our webpage, pureloveandharmony.com or sasharies.com, you can find all programs and challenges, a lot of free content, but also a very affordable paid content that you can go through and learn skills you need in order to battle this challenge. And all about, it's not, I have my lifelong work with the dogs, and now, running this Pure Love and Harmony Institute that you can learn a lot from. You can see our studies. You can see some of our past studies, our future studies, the studies that are currently undergo, and learn about more about the Pure Love and Harmony Institute on the webpage myplh.com, myplh.com. Learn about what are we doing and where out all of this knowledge is coming from. And which kind of team. I'm just the front man in front of the camera talking, but there is an enormously big source of the minds that are creating everything that we offer you as a source to start building the responsible pet ownership. And that's again the Pure Love and Harmony formula. combines three unseparable components of the dog care. Those are communication, that we call the dog behavior. In Pure Love and Harmony formula, that's the way the dog communicates with us. And oftentimes their communication we find very unacceptable, or it's undesirable. So we don't want them to behave that way, but we just need to change the circumstances in which their behavior as a communication changes into acceptable and desirable behavior. So when we want to teach our doggy baby to communicate properly with us using language that pleases us with the outcome of their behavior as an outcome of the communication, then we need to create the circumstances in which the response to our circumstances will be behavior, communication that's desirable and acceptable. So the next thing is, and then when you do that, then how you create a secure attachment. The dog is completely relaxed because they can predict our behavior. It doesn't matter will we feed them at 2 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, with this or with that. They know they're gonna get food. It doesn't matter will we go out and we stay 10 minutes or 2 hours or 3 days. They know we're gonna come back. It doesn't matter are we taking them to a walk and then there is a lot of dogs or a lot of people or whatever. They don't react because they know that we care about all of that. They don't react. So when they don't react, they don't have triggers. If they don't have triggers of the outkind surrounding because they are just waiting for our next move to be invited to behave a certain way, then the dogs, completely relaxed dogs, are dogs that doesn't experience any form of stress. And then the immune system can thrive. Just after the communication is properly established, then it does matter what do you feed your dog with. Because if the dog is in constant stress, his entire hormonal body is different than when you are when you are treating the dogs that's not in the constant panic stress. And you can see, you can read, there is an amazing study. It's called the Silver Fox experiment done by the Dr. Dmitry Belyaev from Russia. And you just Google it and take a paper. There is a paper, you can read it, or there is movies you can watch. How the stress and adrenaline and cortisol are actually changing the dog's physiology so high that the foxes actually were changing their appearances. So the more fox was tame, they started to experience something. It said like how the silver fox can become white, how the silver fox can have a floppy ears, how the silver fox can have a brachycephaly face or underjaw. How that can happen if that's why the silver fox is called silver fox, because it's silver, not white. And then when he did the lab testing and when he did hormonal analysis of the blood and the glands, like a internal, like how you call that, glands that are secreting internally. I don't. Yeah, he was checking adrenal glands, adrenaline, and cortisol and things like that. And he said, like, where the cortisol and adrenaline are pulled back because they are not facing the fear, all other spectrum of the hormones can express themselves, changing appearance of the foxes. And that is, he explained the evolution of the dog by that silver fox experiment. And you can learn a lot about how your dog behave and why it behave, how the dogs look the way they look, and where to find the solution to the dog's human behavior. It's in a silver fox experiment. And only when you do understand how to communicate with your dog, then it matters with what you feed your dog. Because then internal system of the dog is complex and works and functions, and just then they can really focus on, because otherwise the stressed dog is completely with a completely killed digestion system. The entire intestine is gonna be without flow of good bacteria. The good gut is missing to the dogs that are experiencing constant stress. So if the good gut is missing, then the resorption of the good the food content is missing, and then the cell doesn't get the food that we actually fed our dog with. So no matter how great gold and premium food you get your dog, if the dog is constantly stressed, it's just going out. Nothing gets absorbed. And finally, the coat care. The coat and skin care is very important for the dog. And only if you combine, because it cares about the environment that we all live in. So, and that's important, how your dog experiences the grooming process. That's what you need to also focus on. Does my dog love to be groomed by someone, or doesn't love to be groomed by someone? If they love to be groomed by someone, are they complying to them out from state of fear? Are they good at the grooming table because they are afraid? That's also a question to ask. Because if they are complied to a proper grooming process because they're afraid, they're in state of freeze mode, dealing with the fear. Meaning that they are afraid, but the coping mechanism with the fear is freezing mode. They're gonna still be quiet on the table, but because they are freezed. Is that something that causes stress to your dog, weakening the immune system, preventing them from fighting all kinds of diseases? Yes. So the only holistic approach and responsible ownership is forever cure for no matter which kind of disease is approaching our front doorsteps. And that's what I wanted to draw your attention with this live, with this today's everything you wanted to know about dogs, because I got like a couple of questions like in my inbox, and I encourage you to ask live questions, or you don't need to. Like I already have this, putting your questions together in this project of everything you wanted to know about dogs, but you didn't have whom to ask, because there is a lot of informations out there. And I don't usually give too much answers too linear, like not like, oh, this is because. No, I'll give the context to a question's answer from my perspective. And what I'm encouraging here is always challenging the narrative, challenging the known, challenging the future by expanding the perception and staying open-minded. Because things we know today we didn't know 10 years ago. Things we know today we didn't know just a year ago. If we stay, and the way we oftentimes we say like, oh, it's not like that because I lived with dialogue all my life. Yeah, that's true. But oftentimes that closeness of our possibility to kind of like question everything, having a real critical thinking, not to criticize. There is a difference in between criticizing and having a critical thinking. Criticizing and disagreeing just because it's a different opinion, that's not a critical thinking. Critical thinking is questioning, asking questions why, where, when, and how, by getting those deep answers and putting them in a context. That's the only way that you can find what's the best solution for you. I didn't say this is the way you feed your dog, and this is the way you communicate with your dog, and this is the way you care for your coat. No, I said those three things need to be uniformed and unified. And that's why I encourage that those three things should be found in one person. You don't need a master groomer and a specialized nutritionist and behavior trainer and expert. No, you need a canine care expert that knows about proper communication, nutrition, and coat care. That's who you need, all in one. Because the rest is all contradicting each other, leading to confusion, leading to more stress, leading to anxiety and uncertainty in the doggy parent that reflects uncertainty and the things the dogs cannot expect from us, because that's not the quality of the good leader, neither a responsible pet parent. So when you see, and lately more you see and hear expert, you should just kind of lay back from the expert, because the expert tend to, you know, there is a you know, the man was sick and it was sent to the hospital, and then the hospital sent him to a cardiologist, and cardiologist said, oh, it's nothing with the heart. Then they sent him to a pulmonologist, and them said, oh, it's nothing with your lungs. They sent him to the abdominal specialist. He said, it's nothing with your abdomen. And there was no holistic approach to a soul, mind, and body encompassing the problem of that man. And the man, of course, died. But according to the people that were observing, the special point of their interest, oftentimes by specializing so tightly, we actually lose a perception of the wholeness. And the only wholeness can hold us through this time, because we don't have time to spread us all over the place in order to look for the experts. That's why the future actually is in the holistic approach. It's in wholeness. It's in purity of whole that experience the wholeness as the only way of healing. Because the healing starts when the wholeness combines in one, back to what's separated from its wholeness. So we need to put back all the pieces, but all the pieces can be put back only by the holistic approach, not by the expert approach. So thank you so much for your time. I get like this little chat to inspire you to think about this strange and anonymous and unknown disease in front of our doors that threatens the dog's life, that I don't underestimate. It is dangerous. But if we unite the dog's well-being where the well-being should be united, then the outcome of that would be longevity and life in pure love and harmony. Until next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, I wish you all the wonderful time with your beautiful four-legged friends and everyone you love.